Welcome back to another week here on Instigating with Clarkie and Drury. Ryan Drury, Chris Clark. We are very pleased to be joined by one of our favorites, friend of the show, TSN hockey analyst, longtime NHLer Dave Poulin. Pooley, how you doing, my friend? How's your early summer, your Canadian summer?
It's great, Ryan. Thank you, Clarkie. Hope you guys are well. It's been a little while. It's hard to get me through the playoffs because there's so much going on. And I don't know my schedule more than a couple of days in advance. And there's been a lot of studio work. There's been a lot back and forth. And it's been a great playoff so far. Really, we're dampened a little bit coming out of Dallas and Vegas. But man, oh man, even the sweep of the Canes by Florida was great hockey. It's been really fun. It's been a fun ride. I think it's going to be a terrific final. So I got to buckle down for the next maybe 2 weeks, Ryan, and really be serious. And luckily the NHL is catching up with all their news. They're trying to get everything out of the way so that we don't have to worry about anything afterwards, I guess.
Yeah, it sure feels that way. And we're definitely going to touch on the Cup final in a minute. One fan base is going to get their first ever Stanley Cup. It's pretty cool. Before we touch on that, though, being where we are on the planet Earth here, we're in the middle of Leaf Nation. And obviously we now know that Brad Treliving, who spent 9 years as the general manager of the Calgary Flames, is now the new general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Pooley, obviously, I'm sure you know Brad a little bit. You're aware of his work. Everybody's familiar with his last couple of years and some of the big moves that he made in Calgary. Your thoughts on the hiring of Brad Treliving? Did it kind of fit the narrative that Brendan Shanahan painted as Kyle Dubas went out the door?
It did fit the narrative in terms of an experienced guy, and Brad Treliving is a really smart hockey guy. I actually got to know him when we were both in the AHL. He was with Arizona, and I was with the Marlies, and that's when I got to know him a little bit. And just a really, really solid hockey guy, smart, creative, good communicator. It's interesting because it's very different from the very first hire that Brendan Shanahan made in his role, because his first hire was Kyle Dubas, a 28-year-old out of the Sioux, who he hired as an assistant GM. And if you think back to those press conferences, he hired him because of the creative young mind, how different everything was going to be. It was going to be a different game. It was going to be about skill and speed. Their fourth line was going to be skill and speed. Their toughness was going to be their power play. They were going to have a core of small, mobile defensemen. And quite frankly, none of that really worked out. And Kyle Dubas evolved through his 8-9 years here with the Leafs and evolved into, a solid hockey guy. That's what he became. He was trying to build a team in the same fashion as everybody else was. And so now to go down almost the opposite road and say, we need experience in this role right now, I think is interesting. And he's got a great guy in Brad Treliving. But I would have been interested, Ryan, in the interview process to hear what was said that would be different. What would strike you as different? What did eyes from the outside, albeit in the league, see in Toronto that maybe they missed in Toronto? And I do know that Brad has a strong relationship with Brandon Pridham, because when he was with Arizona, Pridham was with the league and the league owned Arizona. So the communication lines there ultimately he would have been his cap guy. He wrote the CBA on the cap. And so they have a strong relationship. So maybe it's what did Brandon Pridham see that he wasn't able to do in his role here, that now Brad Treliving will be able to trigger. So that part of the conversation would have been very intriguing for me, the word different and what can be different with this Leaf team.
Take us through the first couple of weeks as a new general manager. What will this guy have on his plate, and what do you think are the main goals he'll have in this first couple of weeks here?
He has more on his plate than I have books in this library, and the walls you can't see are covered head to toe. He's got a lot going on, Clarkie. The time of year is it's so critical. So you've got your critical dates when things have to be done by. But then you've got these things like, oh, the combine's going on. And now, well, the general manager wants to be at the combine. That's where a lot of his conversations will start, is in Buffalo at the combine. They'll proceed through to the draft. Internally, you honestly, and Clarky, you work there, you can't go about meeting everybody at MLSE, because if you were to do that, you honestly, there were days when I'm a polite guy, you can't leave the door open. And even in the closed area where we were, we were in that far end where the offices were. I assume, say they were in the same place, and Brad Treliving is in the same office I was in. So there's not a lot of traffic through there, but people can find a reason to cut through there or get over there. And you just simply couldn't have an open door policy, because you want to meet everybody. You want to be polite. He's a really nice guy. He treats people really well. You just can't meet them right now. You've got so much on your plate. And the critical dates we've documented: July 1st, what happens July 1st with the no moves, the no trades, the extensions. I'll tell you something that wasn't brought up today, but obviously preliminary press conference. What wasn't brought up, but he can do, is he can address his own 10 unrestricted free agents. He can re-sign or start negotiating with every Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Shen, Noel Achari, David Camp, whoever you want to bring back of that group, right? So, because right now, if you got to July 1st and weren't, it's a pretty thin UFA class, and someone's going to target 5 of those guys. So say, Clarky, you've targeted Bunting, and Ryan, you've targeted Camp, and he's the guy that you want. And say it's a really good team that wants Camp, that thinks they're missing a fourth line center. So he's their target, like July 1st, first call. Well, if he's not a priority here, he's just another guy on the list. And, and I were that free agent, I were to get that initial call, at midnight on June 30th, technically, and July 1st call and say, hey, you're our guy, we want you. So that's what you've got to be careful of here. You've got to parse through and choose who you want amongst those 10 UFAs. That's a piece of business you can take care of right now. And then the conversations with, the Nylander camp, the Matthews camp, clearly, the Samsonov camp, all have to happen.
They alluded to it in the presser today, Poulin. What kind of restrictions do you think is on Treliving when it comes to the draft? Obviously, he was involved with the Calgary process right along to the end there. What would the conversation have been with Shanahan and Calgary about that, and how do you think that's going to shake out? Like, can't he even go to the combines?
Yes, he can go to the combine. I'm saying. Yes,
assuming.
If I'm the league, if you're asking me and I'm the league, absolutely go to the combine.
Yeah.
This is about trust and a professional and a handshake agreement. And Clarky, we had a very light situation, so I've been right in the middle of a light situation. Montreal came to us and wanted to hire Rick Dudley in a senior role. Dudley had been in every one of our meetings. It was the year we had the 5th overall pick in the draft. Guess what? Montreal had the 3rd. And Duds knew we wanted Morgan Riley, knew what our priority was, knew that we had discounted the other options, and we were going for Morgan Riley. And that was literally a handshake deal with Duds that said, you cannot choose Morgan Riley in the draft. And so I don't know whether it was said in the manner that Montreal couldn't take Morgan Riley, but Rick Dudley couldn't let his opinion be known. There's a reason Rick Dudley has been in the business for as long as he has, guys, because that handshake agreement was rock solid. And that's what I would assume is in place with Brad Treliving.
Yeah, it's the old Jerry Maguire line. My word is oak, or whatever he said, and they ended up losing that first overall pick. He really wanted to represent that guy. I'm sure, obviously, it'll shake out differently with Treliving. One thing that struck me, not only from the press conference clips, but also watching him today with your colleagues on Overdrive, my favorite show, they were talking to Tree as well and brought up, the core four, and he kind of made some comments about that, and kind of sounds like he's preaching patience not only with the media, and Hayes asked him outright, like, is this more directed at the players, or do you more mean the media and fans? And he said, yeah, just the fan base, like, let's be patient here and break down what we're going to do. In your opinion, though, I mean, as soon as they got eliminated, Pooley, that was immediately the first thing that came up. This core four, can they win? Does somebody finally need to go? Put your general manager hat on. You're Brad Treliving right now. This is a real struggle. And Treliving, like I mentioned off the top, he's made some big trades. The biggest one being last offseason when Matt Tkachuk said, by the way, I don't want to stay either. And people were praising him. It's odd. He's out in Calgary now. At the start of the season, people were going, look what Treliving did with a brutal situation. And he managed to get Huberdeau and Weegar. Of course, they had a poor season, but Hannafin for Lindholm, pilfering Markstrom out of a rival in Vancouver. Like, this guy has swung for some big fences. What do you think ultimately maybe is going to, or in your opinion, Pooley, needs to happen with this core four? Would you run it back?
Okay, there was a whole bunch of different thoughts in there, Ryan. So let's start with your last point. I would not run it back.
Okay.
I wouldn't. And, belief is an interesting word, because Mitch Marner will stand up and say, I believe in this group. Well, what reason do you have to believe in this group from a playoff performance standpoint? Florida has reason to believe right now. Now, it may be just this Florida team on this run because they were down 3-1 to Boston with Brad Marchand on a breakaway, and there's a reason they should believe right now. To me, there's not a reason that the Leafs should believe that this group can get it done on the ice. There's just not, because it's another year. Now, they've made a significant change. The significant change doesn't wear skates. He doesn't score goals. He doesn't play in the power play. He doesn't kill penalties. And, I think that if you look at it, I think something has to change. Look, you can run it back. You can run it back. They're all under contract. You can run it back exactly like it is for exactly 1 year. What happens on July 1st is 3 players gain some form of control. And it happens, so it happens at midnight on July 1st, guys. Auston Matthews can't sign till midnight. He doesn't get his no-move contract till midnight. Like, it happens at the exact same moment. Right. At that exact moment, Marner gets his no-move, but he has 2 years left. Nylander gets his 10-team no-trade. So I'm assuming there's no way that Auston Matthews is going to sign on July 1st. Now, before Leaf fans panic, Nathan McKinnon and David Pastrnak didn't sign on July 1st. And this is a really funny conversation with a producer that I had, because he said to me, well, when did they sign? And I said, geez, I think McKinnon signed in like September and Pastrnak didn't sign until March. And then I started laughing as I was saying it. And he said, just wait, let me check that, because we got to be sure on that. And he checked and said, no, you're right. It was September and March. The reason I was laughing was because I've been asked to get 4 items at the grocery store and couldn't remember 2 of them. And the second I was asked when Pastrnak and Marchand signed, I knew that. But I couldn't remember, like, I don't even know what I couldn't remember, the vegan burgers or like something. And it just shows you how warped my mind is. But so don't panic when he doesn't sign July 1st. I don't think he's signing July 1st. What happens then, Ryan, is he holds the cards. He holds the cards. He's the ultimate card holder at that point, because he has the 1 year left with the full no move. So if they were to say at that point, geez, we're really interested in moving to Nylander, and the Matthews camp would say, well, we're really interested in having Nylander here, then you've got some interesting discussions going on.
Like, how did this get? Obviously, it was in the contract that Dubas signed, but is this normal that this could happen? That the same day that they could sign the guy, a no movement clause kicks in? Like, I don't ever, as a Leaf fan, remember this happening in Leafland before. Like,
I honestly just think we've got so much more information in our control, Clark. You really do.
Okay.
You can go to Cap Friendly. You can scroll down, see what the no movement, no trade clauses are. The players are gaining more power in this fashion. There are still teams that don't want to give any no movement clauses. This was a 5-year deal when the two players out in Edmonton who are of note signed 8-year deals.
Yep.
So that's why it's all coming to the front right now. You can't have trade protection until you're technically eligible for unrestricted free agency. Okay. So you can't, after your 3rd year, you can't have a no move clause. You can't have it till you're fully 7 years in the league and are technically will be eligible for unrestricted free agency. That's the only time you can get a no move or a no trade clause. So that's why they happened simultaneously this year on July 1st in Auston Matthews' case.
Okay, so you didn't get the job, even though I was hoping you would, because I thought maybe some free tickets would have come my way. However,
you're talking about the StubHub job, right?
Yeah, the StubHub job. Exactly. Yes. However, put your GM hat on here. Okay, if you're not coming back with the same core, which I think you said, who's the guy? Who's going?
Who's controlling that? Like that's the variable here. And it's a really, really hard point. Can you change everything up to and around it? Like we always say core 4 because it's the same position. Is Morgan Rielly not a part of that? Like he's been there longer than all of them. Is it not really a core 5? I think it's fashionable to say core 4 because they all play forward. But realistically, you would have Morgan Rielly in the core 4 from a standpoint of being a Leaf draft coming up through long-term contract ahead of John Tavares, but you don't. And, who goes amongst the group? That's, you'd say, well, it's Nylander. Okay, well, Nylander's the best performer in the playoffs. Well, you haven't won in the playoffs. So dispel that notion. I don't want the best performer on a losing team. And so, the argument can go every which way. When you trade a superstar, it's really hard. Now, okay, the two teams that are playing the Stanley Cup Finals arguably both traded for the best players.
Mm-hmm.
In Vegas's point, they might have traded for their 3 best players. You could argue that Mark Stone, Pietrangelo, and Jack Eichel are all trades. So you made a trade.
Right.
You gave up assets. These guys get traded. Matthew Tkachuk gets traded. So I know it's kind of funny because the bubble that has been built around the core 4 as untouchable, it's almost bigger because it is 4. And once again, I'm not including Morgan, and all due respect to Morgan, I'm just calling it what the majority of writers call it, the core 4. That they've won 1 playoff series.
I know. I get it, and call me insane.
But when you drill it down, this is the hard part, Clarky. When you drill it down, you don't want to trade any one of them.
No, I don't, because I don't think there's a magic formula out there saying this team can't win. I get it. They haven't won. I get it.
So where does your belief come from? Why are you allowed to believe? If
That's
you're
a
believing
great question.
You believe because you want to believe. They're likable. You like them. They're fun to watch during the regular season. All those things. By the way, Florida had a miserable regular season.
Right.
They built up to what they are now.
Yeah, I get that. And Ryan knows I've been on Mr. Fancy Pants Mitch Marner saying they got to ship him out. I just can't see how they can win that trade. They better win it. They better get a good player back. right? But
so I spoke to Buffalo recently, and almost because of their vested interest in the finals, Sam Reinhart, Brandon Montour, Jack Eichel, and so what I did to calm their nerves a little bit was the Montour deal. Let's put over to the side because they got a third rounder for it. They got Devin Levi and the kid Yuri Kulik, who's he's an 18-year-old playing in Rochester, tearing it up right now. That was the first rounder they chose. So Kulik and Levi for Reinhart. Alex Tuck, Peyton Krebs, another kid named Noah Ostlund, who plays for Diergarten, who as an 18 or 19-year-old had a tremendous season for Diergarten, plus a second rounder. Those are the four pieces they got back for Jack Eichel. Alex Tuck has been maybe Buffalo's most valuable player, but also set the tone for a kid from upper state New York who wanted to be in Buffalo. Like he wanted to go to the Sabres. And that seemed to get a little bit of a cool trend going where, it's okay to be a Sabre. Peyton Krebs is a good player. He's a really good player. He doesn't have to be a number one. He can play in the 3-hole behind Dylan Cousins. So you make trades.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo's a better team, and they're a better team going forward for it. And Florida broke up a President's Cup team. And everybody looks at Bill Zito, and we don't have to go over how close they came to not making the playoffs. It was almost they almost didn't make playoffs. And yet they were willing to let a really good up-and-coming young coach in Adam Burnett go, bring a new coach in Paul Maurice, and really roll the dice.
Mm-hmm.
Because of Huberdeau's effect on Barkov, because Mackenzie Weegar took a lot of load off of Ekblad. So, but Mackenzie Weegar going opened the door for Brandon Montour. So, you want to protect the assets you have. They're likable kids. They are likable guys. They're unbelievably talented. Brad Treliving said it 5 times today.
Yep. I just think they're so close. And what scares me as a big fan is
they're not close.
They may have lost to the Stanley Cup champs. I get it.
They may have.
They may have.
What does that mean?
I lost to the Stanley Cup champs 6 times, Clarkie. 6 times I lost to the team.
Well, if you had to beat them, you might have won the cup.
I might have.
Right? All I'm saying
you believe because you want to believe.
I do. And I just feel let's just say they trade Marner and then Matthews chooses not to come back. I just think this. I feel, as I said, they're close, and now it's like,
well, Clarkie, you know what?
Where are we now? That's all. And we had lots of text messages back and forth during the playoffs. Different team. It's a different team. It's a different team. And then they lost, and I go, I guess it's the same team. Because
Ryan, those text messages stopped coming in. I'm not sure what happened there. Did he lose my number?
I don't know either. Yeah, I was in Vancouver and I didn't hear much.
And then I said to you, "Are you up for the job?" And you didn't respond. So I'm like, I'm onto something here. But I guess.
Yeah, we thought we were breaking something. Clarkie, though, here's the thing, though, is I understand that you want to believe, and I think watching what Florida has done and that whole narrative where 3 of the last 4 years the Leafs have lost to the eventual Stanley Cup champions, I understand that, and that's probably where your belief comes from. We're watching a team go into a Stanley Cup final that made the playoffs on the last day of the regular season. The only reason they made it, remember, is because Pittsburgh crapped their pants in Chicago.
And who on the first day of the playoffs honestly thought the Florida Panthers were going to...
Oh, nobody.
Nobody.
Some guy in Miami.
Why can't the Leafs in the current state do it again? There's no formula.
I understand there's no magic formula.
Anyway,
my whole thing, though, is at the core of all of this, not to bring up that word again, but at the core of this, and Poulin, I'd love your thoughts on this. When they lost, Hayes and the guys were on overdrive, and he made the point that we cannot let the inmates run the asylum anymore. There is a perception of these guys that they all got everything that they wanted way up front in terms of big money when they had won categorically nothing. Matthews got paid before he scored 60 goals and set a new franchise record. Marner got paid. He's never even had a 100-point season, I don't think. He's come close a couple times, disappears in the playoffs. Nylander sat out half a year, was crap for the rest of the year that he came back. He's been pretty good in the playoffs on losing teams. If I've said this to you before, Clarky, if Matthews, because the whole scare, he wants to go home, he wants to play in Arizona. What have I said every time you brought that up? That if that's true, I don't ever want to hear the word winning come out of that kid's mouth ever again. And if they're so soft, if they're so soft that if they trade a guy just because they're buddies with him, in the effort to try and change something and make a team better, and they go, they traded my buddy, I want to leave now. I don't want to be associated with people like that when I'm trying to win. Poulin, your thoughts?
I don't disagree with you. The rules are written like they are. I was a free agent once in my career. You had to accomplish 100 things to be a free agent when I was going through the system.
Yeah.
31 years old, you had to be making less than the league minimum. There were like 9 different parameters. I hit all of them and I became a free agent. I picked 6 teams. I picked the 5 teams that I thought had the best chance of winning the cup. This is 1993. And of those 5 teams, each of them went to the finals within the next 4 years, and 3 of them won the cup. So I was picking the right teams. And the 6th team I picked, guys, ironically, 1993, Florida Panthers. Expansion year. Bob Clark was down there as general manager, tried to convince me to go down, as he did, Scotty Mellenby and Scrudland and all those guys, Van Biesbroek and the guys that went to the finals in 96. So technically, the 6th team that I wasn't picking for that reason. I was picking to establish myself, on day one with a franchise for fun. They went to the finals too. So that's what I based my decisions on when I was a free agent. I wanted to win a cup. And the later you get in your career, the more important it becomes. At 25 years old, Auston Matthews is arguably positioning himself for his next contract, not this one coming up. Think about that, because he's going to be, if he goes another 5-year deal, he's going to be 31 years old in his prime still, like not 37, 36, 31, and he'll get another home run contract. So I don't disagree with you, Ryan, about that, but why the word belief again? Why does he believe he can win in Toronto? Just because he likes the guys? They like growing together? It's been a pretty comfortable environment there, guys. By all standards, it's been a very comfortable environment there.
That's what I mean, right? Like, and I understand you like playing with the guy. You like certain aspects of the way the room is. And I mean, it is built around those guys. Like, yes, John Tavares is the captain and a very important player there, but like, let's all be honest, everybody follows what Matthews and Marner, and to an extent Nylander as well, are doing. And the panic over the last year, will he re-sign? What's the number going to look like? 13 million, 14 million. What's he going to do? I'm curious, before we move on to the cup final, which is going to be great, I'm curious your perspective on this. Put your agent hat on for a second. You mentioned Matthews. Yes, he's coming off this 5-year deal. Maybe he'll want to do something similar. Again, the narrative coming out of the playoffs, and we all saw the picture of the brace on his wrist and everything and how it hampered his release. It's great he scored 60 goals and all that stuff, and no one can take that away from him. He won a Hart Trophy. Would you, as his agent, maybe not, and maybe even he himself, be a little concerned about his injury history? This guy's had shoulder problems already in his young career that cut his rookie season short. The following year, he had another arm injury. Now he's had this seemingly chronic wrist problem. He said it himself at the end of the year, Poulin, that his wrist was bothering him all year, and it's his load wrist, his right wrist. Like, I would be a little concerned about trying to sign a 5-year deal and then potentially having these things get worse and affect my ability to hit more money at 31. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to go to the magic number here. You're going to give me about 20 seconds. And I'm going to just share something with you.
Okay.
And what I'm going to share with you is that the 25-year-old right now has career earnings of $53 million.
Yep.
Is that enough to live?
He's got his sneakers and his jeans, Ryan. He's got really nice sneakers and really nice jeans.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
And you can only wear one pair of each of those at a time. So I don't think he thinks like that. I don't.
Right.
I think he thinks, I'm going to roll he rolled the dice going 5 years instead of 8. If he was concerned about that, he could have tacked another $34 million onto this deal.
Yeah.
So what did I say he's at? He's at 53. He's going to add 11 to that this year. He's going to be at 64 at the end of this year. I don't know.
Is that enough to live? Like, how, like
well, it's not.
Okay. All I'm saying is, there's no discount coming, no, right?
Oh my, no.
Exactly.
What's
He's going to be looking
number?
for 14, right?
What's that number look like?
Highest in the league.
Yeah.
Really? You think so?
And it's going to spin a percentage of the highest in the league to the projected cap numbers over the next 5 years.
Right.
Which is a fictitious number because no one knows what they are.
Well, and like he signed last time, they thought that number was going to go up.
Yeah, they thought that the cap was going to be something like 88 million by now, and it's not. It's going to go up $1 million next year to 83.5, and then Gary Bettman basically kind of said
it's going to be the highest on a percentage basis of what the projected cap is going to be. That's what it's going to be.
Okay.
Do you not think he's going to get crucified for that by this fan base based on what has not happened? Yes. 60 goals. It's all very nice. I understand that. But based on what hasn't happened, do you not think that this fan base, with how volatile they are right now, is going to just absolutely explode if he gets the highest salary?
Sure, he'll think about it for as long as that statement just took, Ryan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm sure
he's already over it. I think he's over it.
Well, he can afford the nicest AirPods. So.
Well, and the other thing is, Ryan, is that, and the PA will be involved and say, you've got to drive it.
Of course.
Don't forget, you've got to drive it to the highest point.
That's what people forget.
You're the next guy up. You have a responsibility to your peers. You're doing it for them. You're not doing it against them. Mm-hmm. You're not taking less so your team can get better. You let the team worry about managing their salary cap. You worry about driving the bar.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the conversation.
Yeah. Okay,
that's very true.
Let's get off the core. I found it interesting today with Treliving's presser that he said, he's got to meet with Sheldon Keefe and figure that out and get to know him. But then he also said at the end that the coaching situation is a high priority. Do you think Sheldon Keefe's coming back?
I do. And I would go back and look at the hires in Calgary while Tree was there, right? Who would you hire? You would hire Gulletson. You'd hire Billy Peters. I don't think there's a Tree guy like available there that like you would associate a coach and general manager. I don't think. I don't know that. But I don't see a bond that, two guys have had. We'd say, well, obviously, he's had Pete DeBoer before he's going to hire him. I don't see that. And I don't see that coach out there right now. I just don't. And Sheldon Keefe is a really good regular season coach. He has not proven to be in the playoffs. Some of that is experience. And, some of it is. And because you think about it, the big challenge in a coach in the playoffs is matching. It's adjusting.
Yep.
And how do you think he did?
I don't think he did very well.
No, I don't either.
I don't like starting games a couple of times.
Yeah.
It seemed like you were trying to adjust to them instead of
being in charge. Let's take charge here.
So part of coaching is not coaching, Clark. part of coaching is let your players play. And there were times, and I can remember this so clearly, when we in Philadelphia thought we were better on the road because Mike Keenan wasn't in a personal battle with their coach like Scotty Bowman trying to match lines. We loved when we didn't have the last change. we just did, because we didn't have to worry about it.
Right.
You know? And so part of coaching is that. And you know, and I think that's part of learning and part of growth. And I'll give you an example. At the start of Game 6, Vegas-Dallas. Okay, the Dallas forecheck was really good in Games 4 and 5. At the start of Game 6, there wasn't a puck on a Vegas defender's stick for more than 1 second. And the puck was coming up the wall, and the winger had to be there ahead of the Dallas defense. That was his responsibility. So first responsibility, hard back to the puck. The second you touch it, it's a hard rim. Unless your partner's wide open, then it's a one touch to him. Next responsibility, winger on the boards, you have to bust your butt and get back there because you're going to win that next battle. Centerman below the wing on the boards. And Vegas was not in their end at all at the start of that game, and the game was over. That's coaching. That's coaching. That's an adjustment within a series to something the other team was doing, and all of a sudden you were up 3-0. So,
yeah, it's going to be an interesting dynamic for sure.
Just look at the road record versus the home record in the playoffs for the Leafs. Like, sort of
bizarre.
Tells you what you were saying about playing on the road. Like, maybe the players liked it too, right? And do you think the players like playing for him though?
I think they do.
They do. Okay.
I mean,
he's not going to meet with Auston.
It doesn't
he's not going to
look
meet with Auston Matthews, and Auston's going to say, "I'll resign, but I'm not playing for that guy again." Like,
it doesn't give me the Babcock vibes. Like, you could tell
23 minutes a night.
Yeah, like you could tell when Mike got let go that there was like a bad, vibe on the bench. Sure. But I think that might be what we're looking at here. Is I think Keefe ultimately will come back again. Much like some of the GM searches out there, I just don't see a guy sitting there who's better unless you're going to talk about, Gerard Gallant is still out there. I don't know if he's really a fit. So I think it might be a situation where Keefe comes back, and if they falter out of the gate, maybe then, similar to what happened to Babcock, maybe then they'd make a move. But I mean, they just lost a pretty important piece on their bench too, with Spencer Carberry leaving. So right. I don't know.
All of a sudden, Carberry's an important puzzle piece on the bench because he went to his Caps, right? We didn't hear anything about him.
Well,
okay, no, you don't have to comment. It's fine.
He was part of the Caps organization before the Leafs stole him.
That's fine.
And he was hired because of his American League contract. He wasn't hired because of what he'd done in the American League with Hershey. He wasn't hired because of what he did with the Leafs.
No.
He was great in Hershey, and also keep in mind, since he's been there, the Leafs have had the number 2 best power play in the entire league. Obviously, Edmonton being number 1.
To your point, one point on what you just said about Babcock. Babcock made it uncomfortable for players.
Yeah. Yes.
This group didn't like that. And I think of some of the things we went through, and we had a group in Philadelphia, and I'm not going to turn back the clock on you here, guys, but we had a group that challenged each other to the nth degree. And I had a kid on my team who I loved, a dear departed at a far too young age, Ilka Sinisalo. And unbelievably talented. Scored 40 goals in the National Hockey League, and I told him, Ilka, you could get 50. He goes, then they won 60. It was that big of a talent. And I can remember having Ilka up against the wall in the stick room, literally, with my hand pushing against his chest, face to face, right in his grill. And because I felt it was part of my responsibility as captain. And I wasn't yelling at him. I said, we need you tonight. Like, you don't understand. Like, I know Tocchet's going to be there. I know Timmy Kerr's going to be there. I don't know that you are. And you're that good. Like, that's the conversation I had, personal, face-to-face with the team. I'm not sure that conversation goes on in Toronto.
Okay, and that's what I was going to ask. Can John Tavares do that to Mitch Marner?
Well, I think
would Ryan O'Reilly?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think he would. Yeah, it's not, and maybe I hope they keep Luke Shen. I think they will. He might be a guy that has to do that next year, right? Because like those are moments that, come up, and, Keefe kind of tried to do that with Mitch that night that he benched him, and he threw a stick tantrum, and he had to walk his comments back the next day. So I don't know. Maybe a player does
for
need
a shift.
Yeah.
Benched for a shift.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, for a shift. And he broke his stick, and,
in
I don't
fairness
know.
to Ryan O'Reilly, too, guys, he comes in and breaks his hand. He's not around.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not allowed to be a factor. And the other thing about doing that, and when you do that, you better be good, too.
Yeah.
If I'm going to say that to Ilka, I better have a good game that night.
Yeah, how'd you play that night, Poulin? Did you have 3 points, or?
As far as you know, I was great, Ryan.
Absolutely, dude. 3 points, 7 hits, 70% on draws. I love it. Really quick before we let you go, Poulin, man, it's so great to catch up with you. I mean, you're always so gracious with your time. Cup finals. What do you think is going to happen here? Is the fairy tale come complete for these Panthers, or is this Vegas team that was, for a large stretch of the season, the very best team in the Western Conference? Are they going to finish it off and win their first Stanley Cup in their 6th year of existence? What's going to happen?
Yeah. And I've had this conversation with you guys before. I sat with Bill Foley in Vegas before they'd ever played a game. There were 5 of us at dinner, and Bill Foley said, and I believe it was the first time he said it, I know he was documented later, saying, we'll win a cup in the first 6 years. And his 2 guys that were sitting on his side of the table both spit their beer out, by the way. My business partner and I were looking at each other like, did he just say they're going to win a cup in 6 years? He was almost wrong. They almost won it in the first year. This is a really well put together team. I think they've got a tremendous defense, big, way bigger than people give them credit for. Physical, really good. 2 number 1 guys in Pietrangelo and Theodore. Not 1, but 2 number 1 guys. Love their defense. Their depth is great, top to bottom. I don't think Cinderella's year is over. I don't. And it's hard to call Florida Cinderella when they beat if you beat number 1, number 2, or number 4 in the league in 1 year, if you beat one of those 3, it would be a successful playoffs. They beat all 3 of them.
Yes.
They beat all 3 of them. The greatest regular season team of all time. I don't know. I don't believe in magic. There's something magic going on in Florida right now, guys. There just is. So I'm going to lean Florida in 7.
Wow. Well, they have a guy making magic named Sergei Bobrovsky. I don't believe in magic as much as I enjoyed the Harry Potter franchise. I just think that there's going to be a hard closing of Cinderella's book here. I think Vegas is going to win in 5. For all the reasons you said, Poulin, Petro, Theodore, and then that depth down forward, I don't know that Florida's depth can hang with the goal scoring ability that Vegas boasts. And man, that Kolasar kid is just making noise. I don't know. I like the Knights in 5. Clarky, what do you think?
I think the Leafs are going to lose to the Stanley Cup champ. That's what I think. I think Florida's going to win it. They're on a roll. Right. As long as this layoff, it's the only thing that concerns me. This layoff, if Bobrovsky has lost it, because he's been absolutely lights out and been unbelievable. I
think he wins the Conn Smythe regardless.
If he has not lost it, Florida's going to win this thing.
There you go. Okay. Well, I'm glad we've got different opinions. That's what it's all about, right?
How'd you do in the last round?
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
How'd you do?
Not good.
No,
not good.
2. I was 2-0.
Yeah, good for you. Poulin, we really appreciate you doing this, my friend. It's great to catch up with you. Okay, one more.
Poulin, did the phone ring at all?
Did my phone ring?
Did Shandy call you? My
phone rings all the time.
Were you in this thing?
My phone rings all the time.
Don't do this to Poulin.
I talk to more.
I'm just so curious. You'd be great at it. You would have been the guy.
Anyway. I appreciate it, Clarky. Thank you. I do.
I think you'd be a GM tomorrow, Poulin, myself. But
how comfortable do I look right now, guys?
Very comfortable.
You look pretty comfortable.
Very comfortable.
Adelaide,
Out to my back deck.
Not a lot of stress lines, my friend.
Exactly.
I still think you could do it, though, and come out looking just as good on the other side.
I'm going full Benjamin Button. And that doesn't include getting back into business.
There we go.
That's not an option.
There we go.
I like your attitude, my friend. Well, hopefully we didn't bug you too much. We appreciate you doing this, my friend. Thanks so much, Poulin.
Have a great night, guys.
All right, we'll be right back with more. We got to talk a little bit more about the coaching carousel in the NHL. Blue Jays, are they starting to turn it around? We'll touch on that next here on Instigating. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkie and Drury. Ryan Drury, Chris Clark. Thanks so much to our buddy Dave Poulin, TSN hockey analyst, longtime NHLer, for joining us for a lengthy chat about all things happening in Leafsland. Brad Treliving, the new GM, the former GM, Kyle Dubas, getting unveiled as the president of hockey ops in Pittsburgh. Very, very interesting. He's got a lot of work ahead of him, Clarkie. Man, oh man, like he's got to do a full scale reno and demo of that organization. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, speaking of demos, let's just stop it there. Speaking of demos, it's not the same thing you're talking about, because you were
not a demolition.
No.
Yes.
But a demo. Larry Hudson's right now. We have some demos that we're selling off. Up to 7,000 off. Some demo trucks. So if you were in the market for a truck right now, 2.7 liter Turbo Maxes, we have a sale going on at Larry Hudson's. And combine that with 1.99% financing up to 72 months. Things are looking good in that market. So if you're looking for a demo, like 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers, not a lot, basically just, trip around the block nowadays. Come on in. If you have a sales rep, look them up. If you don't, just give me a call. Ask for Clarkie. They'll know who to get. It's me, and I'll take care of you, like Grandpa Bill.
Absolutely. Grandpa Bill. He loves his Malibu, dude. He wanted me to tell you. All right. So yes, Grandpa Bill got help. So if you want help as well, and geez, Clarkie, crunching the numbers with our friends at Larry Hudson's, you should be, working on Matthews' new contract here. Unbelievable.
Hudson's has it now.
Yes, they do.
Let's get into this Dubas thing. It seems to me from the outside looking in that this guy lost every contract negotiation with the two big guys for sure, Matthews and Marner, and lost his own job because it looked like he was trying to negotiate, and it didn't turn out too well. He's gone to Pittsburgh now. Good luck to him. To me, that's a team on the decline, but we'll see. Maybe that's why
they missed the playoffs, right?
And he also, and the funny thing is, if they hadn't beat Chicago at home, none of this would be happening right now.
I know.
Florida would not have made the playoffs, which is unbelievable that they lost to Chicago, they got the first pick, but they were trying to lose that hockey game. Let's be
absolutely, and keep in mind too, like Buffalo was still in the mix at that point too, and then of course Pittsburgh lost to Columbus as well, and really cemented this Panthers run. Yeah, it's bizarre. And
I just don't think
he's got a lot.
I don't think he played it out well. He admitted he wanted to be the general manager still of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now he's going to hire a general manager because he's president of hockey operations with the Penguins. Basically, I guess Berkey's old job. Because Hextall was the GM and Berkey was the president. You know what? It's going to be interesting to see how things play out down there. I have a little, burr in my bonnet about it because of what he said in that press conference a week ago Monday, saying you're not going to see me pop up in a week. Oh,
well, that was clearly a negotiation. That was clearly a negotiating tactic in his mind. And Pittsburgh, maybe not. Maybe he wanted to go to. Yep. I think here's what it probably was. He knew he had something potentially waiting for him, and he wanted to go to Pittsburgh all along. But he said, "You know what? I'll stay here if you'll pay me what they're going to pay me and give me a situation where I have more power." And I know that you're bringing up, he lost these contracts. Shanahan had a part in that, man.
Absolutely, he did. No question about it. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of him either.
Well, like
I wasn't a big fan of. You know what? After listening to Brad Treliving today with his press conference, I didn't hear the overdrive segment, but after hearing Treliving today, I'm way more confident that this guy can do the job, because I was concerned. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, when he made that Tkachuk deal, everyone said, you know what? For a guy who with a gun to his head, he did pretty good in that trade. Now, it didn't work out.
He did fantastic.
Right, exactly. So I'm a way bigger fan, and this guy seems very comfortable talking to the media. Hopefully, he talks to the media more than Dubas did, because Dubas basically shut down last year, didn't talk very much. But I think it helps. I think it helps with the public perception when the general manager is out there talking all the time.
Yeah, I think that was more to do with the fact that he had a year left on his deal.
Yeah, maybe it did
for Kyle. Yep. But I agree. I think Tree's a good GM, and I mean, in the very least, he's proactive.
Yeah,
like exactly. The guy makes deals, and not that Dubas didn't. Like, let's be.
Yeah. That's right.
Dubas made plenty of deals, but like I'm talking like this guy in certain situations took a brick to the roster. Like he traded a very good player, in Hannafin. He brought Lindholm in, and he was gangbusters on that Gaudreau line. Gaudreau, pardon me, and then Tkachuk, he leaves, and then Tkachuk goes, check please. And I refuse to, come off the pulpit of giving him praise for that. Like Flames fans are all angry at the guy and whatever. It was nothing but positivity back at the draft when the deal went down. Tkachuk made it very public. I want to go.
Absolutely.
And when he made that deal for a player that just had 115 points and a real solid top 4 guy in Weegar, when he got Huberdeau to come over and signed immediately. Huberdeau signed a deal immediately. Like people were like, Brad Treliving, my God, he might have pulled the season right out of the fire. Now it didn't go very well and they didn't play great. I still think they're a good team, but I'd be excited about him too, just simply for the fact that he's shown that he'll be proactive and make a trade if he feels like it's going to make his team better. He will do it. Now my question here is, and I'm sure this was discussed in the contract negotiations, will Shanahan and the board let him do it? If it comes down to it and he goes, I think we need to trade Mitch Marner, I think we need to trade William Nylander, as an example, will they let him do it?
Well, Shanahan said today that he's in charge. Treliving is in charge, and he makes. I
certainly hope so.
Decisions. I mean, we heard a lot of stories that he interfered with Dubas, but at the end of the day, someone has to be. You're right. Like everyone has a boss.
Yeah.
Like I had staffs, right? I had a staff of people at MLSE and at Sportsnet when I was there. And if I wanted to get, cut someone loose, it's not an easy thing to do. It never is, Ryan. But my boss would always ask me what the reasons were. And he would then listen to my reasons. He would have to give him his blessing, but they would never say no. You know what I mean? They would never. It was like, it's your call. You got to live with it.
People just want to hear logic, right? And I think if your logic is sound and you're able to defend your position and adequately give a detailed list of reasons of why this decision in your mind needs to be made,
right?
That's sports, right? Like, and again, I completely refute this idea of, and look, this might upset some Leaf fans. I really don't care. I refute this notion of like, well, we can't trade Mitch Marner because if we do that, Auston Matthews will get upset and leave. Fine. I don't want to be associated with people like that.
I don't either. But as I said with Poulin,
give me everything.
This team is close. I really do.
I don't think they're not close.
You thought they were going to win the talented. Like you did. You said
I did.
Right. So here's my point.
They pissed me off.
I know that you don't think they pissed me off,
yeah.
But anyway. It just scares me, and like if they trade
look
Marner,
stupid,
and I'm not saying Matthews doesn't resign because they would trade Marner, but if he did,
but the notion of that
was supposed to take us to the promised land, gone. Who's next? Who's coming in? This team will always have the ability to spend up to the cap. They'll always have the ability to go get a couple of more players. But
listen,
at the end of the day. You know what?
I know it's hard to replace those guys. A very good, I don't want to call him generational, but an incredible, in terms of Leafland, once in a lifetime goal scorer. I mean, he's got the franchise record. He won an MVP. Absolutely. This guy is.
Marner's the guy to go.
I agree.
I've said this for 2 years, and
I agree.
He's the guy to go. Poulin never answered my question of who would go. But there's
I bet he's heard some rumblings.
There's no question in my mind. Marner's the guy to go because Tavares can't be moved. Nylander is Nylander I would keep.
Well, as long as he doesn't want $10 million.
True. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I think Marner's going to be traded. I really do now.
I do too. I just here's my thing. I just don't want, if guys are going to be big babies, and look, like it's not the same as this situation. He really didn't feel like it was a fit for him, but like, look, ask the Colorado Avalanche, who were not the Avalanche at the time, but ask them how they feel about how that Eric Lindros trade went down. Eric Lindros wouldn't put the Nordiques jersey on at the draft. They drafted him. He walked up to the stage. He wouldn't put the jersey on. Yep. They traded him. They got Forsberg. I believe they got Mike Ricci and a couple other pieces.
Toronto, New York.
That's right. And they got they got Forsberg. Like, come on here.
I know.
It's not impossible.
Kirk was involved with that too. He'd be a good guy to get on.
Absolutely. It's not impossible to move on and maybe potentially come out greener on the other side. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen here. I'm saying if it is a thing where, we can't trade X because our star player will get mad and cry about it. Well, maybe you should have won a Stanley Cup and tried harder and beat some of these teams over these long years where you're supposed to do something.
Mm-hmm. No, I know.
You can't expect the same thing. Like, if I get in my car every day and it doesn't start, what am I supposed to do? Just keep the car? No, I'm going to go to Larry Hudson's and get a new one.
That's right.
That starts.
That's a good idea, actually.
Changes have to be made, guys. Like, if Auston Matthews is the type of guy where he would go, well, if you trade my good buddy Mitch Marner, which I understand is not a fun thing to do, but this is pro sports. You're paid very handsomely. Oh, if you trade Mitch Marner, then I want it too. I would, if I was the general manager, I would say gladly go. I don't think so either. I hope that's not the case.
I don't think that'll happen. I really
know how many guys got traded. Alex Semin was this guy's boy.
But I know we talked about that before. But who do you think would be in line to get Mitch Marner?
Just about every team in the league, probably. He's so talented. Like, what? A team doesn't need a number one right winger?
He's very talented.
Get 90 points? Like, everybody would be calling.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a tough thing. Blue Jays quickly turning it around a little bit. They win a series against Milwaukee. Tough series this weekend. They're going to be playing the Mets, who have not had a very good season, but it is the Mets, and they're starting to get hot too. The polar bear, Pete Alonso, smacking dingers down there, leading Major League Baseball. Man, Alek Manoah, I'm getting nervous, man. I think that he might be in line for the holiday treatment here pretty soon.
Yeah,
like
they
might have to send him down.
You can't work through things at the major league level.
And the problem is who's going to take his spot in the rotation? Ryu's still 2 months away.
It's funny though, isn't it funny though, Ryan? Like how up and down we are with this management group. Shapiro and Atkins. It's unbelievable. Hey,
they take one step forward.
A lot of people thought this, World Series contender. They're in last, at least last I checked. Maybe they're not anymore. Last place in the East.
I think they might have leapfrogged Boston of recording, but the point still stands.
They're in trouble.
Based on what we see with the talent here and what we were told in the offseason, it is not unreasonable to expect them to be first.
Absolutely. But
not unreasonable.
Vladdy's home run bat, where's that gone? Where is it?
Hasn't hit a home run at home.
They
brought the fences in.
Guys,
geez, I don't know.
What is going on with this team? I don't get it at all.
It's bizarre.
I don't know.
It's bizarre. It's not bizarre to wrap things up. Our friends at Larry Hudson's and their service, they're going to help you out. You want a new vehicle? Go talk to our buddy Clarky here, one of the great reps with our friends at Larry Hudson Chevrolet Buick GMC, 1000 Wallace Avenue here in beautiful Listowel, Ontario. And you want to get active? Check out our friends at the Listowel Squash Courts. Al will hook you up. He's got lesson packages, the whole deal. It's a 24/7 facility. You'll get a fob. You can go in and play squash at 3 a.m. I've done it before.
You did that. I know. You told me.
I did do that.
You did that.
Absolutely.
And if anyone, can you put not a poll? Maybe it is a poll question.
We'll put it up.
I am suffering.
Okay.
Bad plantar fasciitis.
Oh, dude.
Bad. Like I was
at the Dr. Scholl's.
No, you got to get a lot better than that. I don't know where to turn now. Like I've done so many things, and I don't.
You got to see a podiatrist, dude.
Well, I think it's deeper than that. But if anyone has a magic formula, can they just tweet to us? Can you put that up?
At Instigating Pod? Well, sure, you can do that. You can watch this show Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9 with our friends on Whiteman TV.
I just got a cramp in my leg.
That's channel 6 for Whiteman subscribers. We debut on the YouTube channel at 9 p.m. on Friday nights. Send us a message for Clarkie's plantar fasciitis at Instigating Pod.
I play squash and I can't walk the next day. I can't walk the next day.
You got to go to the podiatrist.
We're trying to work through it. I've been at the doctor's today trying to work through it, but it is unbelievable pain. You can't walk.
Unbelievable pain.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go. Not as painful as watching the Leafs go out again against the Florida Panthers this year. Maybe the Panthers will win the cup.
Thanks for that.
Absolutely. Not near as painful.
Thanks for
I'm trying to cheer you up.
Thanks for reminding me. I've been through it a lot now. It's really just, water off the back.
I'm sorry, dude. I'll send you a care package or something.
See you next week.
All right. We'll be back next week with more Instigating.